I don't usually play tournaments, but when it's the biggest tournament series in your home city, you gotta get in the mix. Thing is, I'm a cash game player. That's where I've spent my career. Tournaments are a different world. The pressure, the stack size differences, ICM, it's a whole different game. But this was the Aussie Millions, coming back after 6 years. The busiest I have ever seen this city for poker. I remember walking around as a youngster, dreaming of being in the mix. Well, here we are. From a relatively slow start to securing the chip lead of 11 million chips out of over 2,000 players. The Aussie Millions had it all. What a crazy fucking ride it's been. This is the story of how it all unfolded and what I learned from it. Day one, Aussie Millions Diary Series. Let's do it. I'm feeling good. I'm pumped. I was in there picking up my media pass last night and the poker room is popping already. There's a feel about the room which we haven't had in years. Really, really excited. I'm sitting out here in my lovely little courtyard, enjoying myself some brekkie. It's around 11 a.m. The opening event starts in about an hour and I get some food into us, have a shower and head on in. Let's do it. Glorious day to go win some cash. Let's go.
Hey, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Sort of those 61 C2s that. Yeah, it's too early for that. To play three.
Yeah, if you like win a satellite.
Just chilling out here on my first break. I was carved dead there for a good couple hours. Probably didn't play a hand for, literally almost 2 levels straight, which is fine. Early days, good time to run bad if you ask me. You can be sitting there thinking, fuck, I need to make a move, I need to make something happen. On level 3, people are giving away their chips. Just chill out, wait for a hand. Sure enough, the last hand before break, we flat the king 9 suited in the cutoff facing an early position raise. Button calls, go 3 ways to 9, 4, 5, 2-tone. Checks to me, I bet third, button raises 3.5x, we call. Turn is the king of spades, bringing in backdoor spades. Check, he bets around 5.5 with roughly 18k behind. I mull it over and shove it in, which would be for about half my stack, and he finds the tank fold. So got ourselves up to around 60k, which is about 1.5 starting stack. Sick little start. Let's get it. Practical poker student here, Jay. He's got 80k on the first break.
Let's go!
Pocket Jacks, the hand of the day. The first time we encounter them, playing 400, 800 with an 800 big blind ante. We raise it up in middle position, 2 big blinds, an older trying recreational calls, 2 lags in the big blind come along and call. The big blind was extra special, putting in chips far too loosely. Flop comes down king 5-4 rainbow, check, and the extra laggy player comes in for a donk bet around half pot. Certainly an interesting decision. I think if this was heads up, we'd have a call. This player is capable of leading a 5, pocket 6s, ace-3 offsuit. We're doing fine against that range to continue in position. With 2 players behind with reasonable ranges, starts to become a little close. Could be talked out of this one for sure. We come in for the call, in position folds, the other lag comes in for a call, which is not good news. He's going to have a lot of king X. Not loving the prospects of us winning this pot after he calls, until the lovely jack of diamonds comes on the turn. My initial thought was, uh-oh, here we go. We're going to get a couple of stacks. Goes check. The blind continues betting for a decent size. It was around 18.5k. I'm sitting there with 41,000 behind. It's an interesting play. Certainly some merit in trapping given what was said about his leading range. You can have 6-7, ace-3, random 5x that he's just spewing off with. More of those hands exist, the more we want to just flat and let him hang himself. Of course, those parts of range will exist now and then. There's still a bigger part of range. King X, maybe some combo draw. Now the backdoor diamonds are there. Hands that are probably more likely to put it in if we just shove right now. Therefore, it's a little bit of give and take. We gain things from parts of range, we lose things from other parts. Coupled with the fact that it's quite hard to get any more money from this lad regardless of what we do. If he has King Queen here, he's probably going to fold after we call such a large bet. Therefore, we're just giving him the price to draw with 6-7, perhaps King X of diamonds, if we just smooth call. I'll land on all in. Small blind looks pissed off and eventually folds. And our boy in the big blind comes in for a decently long tank for eventually putting it in with the 5-4 offsuit. We win 100k pot, more than doubling our stack. This was the pot that kickstarted us into the day. A little later on in the session, we were bouncing back and forth between 80 and 120k, not much happening, pretty card dead. We look at pocket jacks at 2,000, 4,000, 4,000 under the gun, raise it up to 8k, face a call from a good pro in the hijack, a recreational player in the big and small blind come along. 4 ways to the lovely Jack 10-3 rainbow. I used to have a saying with a couple of my buddies that went along the lines of Jacks there always is, which translated to Jacks always hit, because the boys insisted that Jacks hit more than any other pair. Certainly showing that today. Checks to me, and I decide to check this one. We only have 20 big blinds, meaning we'll easily be able to get the money in on later streets. The board is pretty dry. It's quite hard for our opponent to have a dominated second best hand that can call down when we have 2 jacks. The good pro in position can certainly have some random bluffs that he might fire up with. I decided to check this time. Unfortunately, it checks through. Turn is the 6 of diamonds. Pretty good card. Going to give people some equity that we can potentially go after. Checks to me again, and I think we want to start putting in some money now. In position did snap check back, which kind of makes me think he has a hand like pocket 7s. Pretty likely to continue checking back. I come in for 10k, which is around third pot. In position calls, small blind starts reaching for chips. Thank you very much. He raises it up to 42k, and we're in a similar predicament as we were with that last hand. Do we give him some rope or just go for the chips now? If we do go all in, it will be effectively less than a 2x raise. Pretty unlikely that even a flush draw or king queen will fold. And again, if we call, we give in position the chance to just draw with a hand like ace 5 of diamonds. I stick it in position quickly gets out the way, and the small blind hates life but begrudgingly chucks the chips in. Once again, drawing stone dead. Feel like that river will not be necessary. This pot is coming to us.
3 of a kind, Jacks.
We have over 200k with only a few levels left. There are 400 or so entries with about 75 people left. The bubble will almost be bursting straight on day 2. Let's finish this day off with a bang and get through to those payouts.
Shape. We're doing 3/4 cups for $5. You guys can taste test. All different sorts. Zach, let's quickly roll out what they are.
Well, that is a wrap. 12 hours play. We found the bag. Great results. Get through with just 1 bullet. Pretty cruisy day up until the last hour and a bit. Basically, it was card dead for most of the day. Every big pot I played, I won. Would have played like 10 or so significant pots for the day and basically won all of them until the last hour. I get moved tables. I've got around 360k. I chip up to a little over 400. And there's this kid who is clearly very drunk, having a lot of fun, putting a lot of chips in. Apparently he's going all in blind. It's probably my 5th or 6th hand on the table. He opens under the gun. We look at 2 jacks, 3 bet, back to him, all in. 250k for around 2/3 my stack. We and ah, call it off. Ace deuce off, of course. Ace in the window. It's like, fuck me. I've sat here all day grinding away and some little prick like this just binks me out like that. At one point in my career, I definitely would have been salty at this. Like, fuck you, you're a moron, da 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 da. But at the end of the day, he's having fun. He's paid the entry. He's the reason why these tournaments exist and why he can play them profitably. So you kind of just have to take it in your stride, tap the table, nice hand, mate. We still had 150k, which was a little over 20 bigs. grinded the short stack for the rest of the time. Very last hand, same lad, doesn't even look at his cards. Everyone knows he just shoves for 600, covering the whole table. Folds to me at the button, ace king off. Thank you very much.
You're gonna beat me for sure. For sure he's gonna. Oh, it's off the win. Yeah.
We put it in, the pot's about 280, we flop an ace, he's got jack 5-0. A little bit of justice, so we go through with an average stack. Better than a kick in the teeth. Back on Monday, let's get it. It is 20 past 4. We are heading into Crown. Taking the morning off after bagging chips last night. Had a little sleep in, chilled out, did some content stuff. Thankfully didn't have to get my ass out of bed to go play day 1B because we're already in there. So heading into Crown to go see what's going on. There's a list forming for a 10-20 game. So yeah, hopefully get something like that up. If not, maybe play a phase 3, which is essentially a 1K Satty. So yeah, we'll go in there and see what's going on. Thank you. Just a couple of interesting hands that I played back to back the 10-20-40. Game's pretty damn good if I'm being honest. About half pros, half recreationals. Always a good spot to be in when you're playing this big. Folds around to a rec, younger guy, playing a fair amount of pots, opens it up to 120, another rec in between calls. We look down at the king jack of clubs in the small blind. Easy squeeze versus 2 recreational ranges. Be wider, they won't fight back enough. Let's go after this dead money, if not played post flop with a decent hand. 650 to go. The lad who opened comes in for a call, in position, gets out of the way. We go heads up to ace queen 3, a monotone. Very polarizing board, which simply means he's either really liking this texture or he's really hating it. Whenever that is the case, we want to be careful with investment, with both how often we bet and the size. We do elect to go after it, but for a modest, a 1/5 pot. Now, this is the interesting point in the hand already. Big fella hits the tank, umming and ahhing over this decision for about 3 minutes. He literally one point went like this, really looked like he had a decision between call or fold, perhaps something like pocket 8s without a diamond, jack 10, something he really didn't want to call with, but was like, you know what, bugger it. Throws it in. Turn comes the 9 of hearts. Now I'm thinking, if that tank was genuine, and I really did believe it was, a double barrel should just print. He thought pocket 8s was close on flop. After he put in something like this, probably just snap folds. Same story. He goes deep into the tank, puts on a show, and eventually calls. Now my spidey senses are tingling. There's very few hands that go Hollywood call. I'm starting to think that you are actually trying to fool me in that you are light and you really have a very strong hand. Jack of hearts, I give up. Sure enough, he puts in a half pot bet and we snap fold. Don't get to see his hand, but there is information at bay there. Pretty confident this guy had a value bet. He was trying to do something with those tanks. Literally, the very next hand. Big fella opens again. We look down at pocket 7s. Can go either way. We have pros in the blinds, so I'm just looking to isolate this lad deep stacked. $360 and we go heads up to the lovely 9-7 deuce, all spades. Same scenario, mostly relying on small bets for what it's worth. When you're up against a recreational player, you could just size up when you have a hand. But given that we just played a monotone texture in the very last hand in this manner, and we didn't necessarily have a strong hand, I thought I'd be consistent. We chuck in $160. Different story, he snap calls. This is information. I'm pretty confident that he had a flush in that last hand, and now he's taking a completely different timing scheme. There is going to be inconsistencies within his range. I think he's much less likely to have a flush, given that he's probably going to put on that song and dance again if he does. King of diamonds. Now, usually with a hand as strong as a set on a monotone texture, we should be fearing the fact that we could run into some slow plays, completely discounting them. So I'm just always going for 3 streets here, hoping the river card will brick off for us. $400, definitely could go bigger with that read. Unfortunately, the ace of spades ruins our chances of getting any value. Check back. Melbourne here, it's last aggressor, so we just show and we are good. Point of the hand. Really interesting that it happened back to back. We want to be dialed in to what these things mean when we're playing against recreational players. They are giving things away with how they're acting at the table. If you can get a clear read on what someone is doing consciously when they have a strong hand, and consciously is a big point, he was trying to do something. There's going to be consistency when he has those types of hands. You can get clear information to tweak how you play future hands. I would have been able to go for 3 clean streets here with hands weaker than pocket 7s because I'm quite confident that he doesn't have any flushes when he takes this timing scheme. Definitely a cool takeaway. No such luck for us today. We played for around 6 hours in 2 pretty good games. Optimistic of our chances of booking some decent wins in these cash games over the series. Not today. Annoying as fuck. Card dead. Anytime we had aces, we'd pick up the blinds. Getting 3-bet when we were opening light. A couple bluffs didn't work. Ended up losing 4k for the day after we get our ace-king cracked all in pre-flop versus a recreational's ace-queen suited for a 5k pot. Such is the game of poker. All good. We'll be back in there tomorrow to play some more cash before jumping in the mix for day 2 of the opening event. I think there's going to be over 300k for first. Let's take it down.
Day 3 here. Same story as yesterday. In between day 1 and day 2 of the main event. So it's going to pop in there and see if there are any decent cash games popping off.
Let's do this. Today is the day. First hand of note here. This hand took place around an hour, half an hour into the day. We'd run our chips down to 220,000, which is exactly 22 big blinds. An older Asian recreational player opens up under the gun to 2 big blinds. A decent trying recreational player sitting to my direct right shoves 26 big blinds in the middle. We have a look at our cards. Pocket queens, not exactly jumping for joy. I think if we had pocket 10s, pocket jacks, we'd consider folding. Queens, I think it is a clear go with. There are going to be some bad results, but we have to take this spot and gamble. We chuck our chips in, folds back to under the gun, who tanks for a little while and folds ace-king offsuit face up. I couldn't really believe this at the time, and I thought it was a very nitty play. After talking with some of my tournament friends, they actually said it's a good fold. Both of our ranges are quite tight, sitting on a decent stack. You don't really want to take on that unnecessary risk with ace-king. Hats off to the old Asian lady, she found the play.
Ice King need a heat.
Ice King what?
Need a heat. All of you.
Oh.
Better news for us, the pro to our right rolls over 2 jacks. We're in great shape. The turn is the ace of clubs, so we would have got scooped. Instead, we ship a 480k pot, putting us at a very healthy 50 big blind stack above average, approaching the money. A great spot to be in.
A lot has happened in the last couple of hours. Controversies here and there, which I'm always in the thick of somehow. Might be my problem. Lots of people stalling. Interesting topic. Moving it into the money bubble. Every short stack just tanking for 10, 20 seconds. I'm sitting there with 50 plus bigs. Obviously want to play more hands. I'm calling the clock on people and there's just animosity building towards me. They're like saying, fuck, don't call the clock on us. But at the end of the day, they're playing the game looking after their own self-interest by stalling. They don't want to play hands. I want to play hands. So I'm calling the clock looking after my best interests. It's a weird phenomenon where they don't understand that, yeah, you play the game, you stall, I'm going to play the game, but call the clock. I'm table enemy number 1 because of this. We're doing okay. Nothing too hot after doubling up with the queens. Would have been double average for a second there, but after people get knocked out, that average stack starts creeping up, lines start creeping up. We're sitting around 40 bigs with just shy of 400, about 200 left. Let's do it.
Next fun hand here, pocket 7s. We had moved tables at this point. Pretty good table, a bunch of wrecks in the mix. We open up our pocket 7s in early position to 2 big blinds. Older recreational player in the hijack calls. Small blind calls, and we go 3 ways to 8-7-5 two-tone. Flopping middle set, let's do it. Small blind checks on us. Key question you want to be asking yourself out of position with a good hand. How often is in position going to open the action for us? On lower textures, the answer is generally a lot. Therefore, there is little incentive for you to bet yourself. We check. In position obliges, puts in around quarter pot, back on us. Easy check raise, we bump it up, and he continues. Turn is the ace of clubs. Similar question to flop. However, the answer now is a lot different. We'll rarely open the action on this card, therefore we want to be doing the betting ourselves. Just third pot given the SBR, and the old fella instantly jams the rest of his chips in. Snap it off. He rolls over ace 10 offsuit, just stone dead. Live 20s, hey? Thank you very much. We scoop a very nice pot to give us a very healthy chip stack approaching the bubble. We move tables again. The table is stacked. Chips everywhere, and I was a little confused as to who the regs were. We play for a little bit and realize that money has been flowing around a little too lightly. Chips going in when they shouldn't be, which means we have a chance to build our stack, or it could certainly go the other way fast. First big hand of this table. Blinds are 25k, 50k. An action player who was tilted at this point in time opens up under the gun to 100k. Folds to us in the cutoff, and we look at ace queen suited. We 3-bet to isolate. He comes along for a call. We go heads up to 9-7-4 two-tone. We flop 2 overs and the nut flush draw. Now, in a cash game, I would be betting this all day versus player type in that range. However, in a tournament, and this lad is very liable to just check jam on us with any pair, I'm not really sure I want to gamble for this amount of chips in this soft of a tournament. So I take a very Daniel Negreanu-esque small ball type play, checking back, playing turns. 7 of diamonds. He quickly comes out betting for 650k around pot, saying he has ace 9 plus. Granted, there'll be some merge spew in there, and of course, a bunch of random bluffs. Easy call. Deuce of hearts, completely bricking everything off. He again quickly comes out betting for a large size. We'll be left with around 400k if we make this call, less than 10 big blinds. We make the call and we are good. The table couldn't believe it. Even another reg, a traveling tournament reg, turned to me and said, "Weren't you worried about him bluffing with a better hand?" I said, "Sure, that could happen." Let's break this down. He's telling us he has some sort of 7, maybe pocket 10s. That's not a whole lot of hands. This lad certainly is playing far too many hands pre-flop, and he arrives to the turn with the entirety of them because we check back. Queen Jack offsuit, 6-5 suited, ace 8 of clubs. That's a lot of hands that he needs to be quite careful with before he starts over-exceeding this very narrow value range. He rolls over the ace 10 offsuit, making my point. He's bluffing with the deck and only has a handful of value. Even if he does show up with ace king or pocket 3s, we are winning this pot 50% of the time, getting better than 2-1. It was honestly one of the easiest decisions I made all tournament. It just looks so crazy because it's for a significant amount of chips.
2 levels to go. You got 5 million. Put in a sick ride. Head in the game. Just gonna play good solid poker. Would have to be up there with the chip lead right now, but not really thinking about that. With 40 left, head in the game. Let's do this.
Another fun bluff catching spot to conceptualize. This hand took place somewhere in between the ace queen hand and the next hand I'm going to show you. Young kid, either a starting professional or trying recreational player, opens up under the gun. We defend the ace 10-0, 9-7-7 two-tone, check. Turn is the 7 of hearts, check. River is the queen of spades, check. In position checks back. Now I'm expecting to just chop with another ace high. The young fella rolls over queen jack suited. Not a very interesting hand, but a key piece of information that helped me make this next call. The very next level, about an hour later, the same kid opens up his early position to 2 big blinds off less than a 20 big blind stack, which is quite important. He has around 15 big blinds, which is quite influential to his range. If he had a hand like pocket 10s, ace queen, ace jack even, he might just jam the chips in. Open off this stack size is somewhat polarized. He either has a hand that's really good, a hand that he wants to get value with, or a hand that he doesn't necessarily want to put the rest of the chips in. This is another piece of information that helps me make my river decision. Jack 8-4 two-tone, check. He puts in a big c-bet, continuing this polarization. We call with our top pair. Deuce of hearts, it goes check. River is the ace of clubs. Now the kid puts in basically all of his chips, leaving a 25k behind. Interesting. Let's put the pieces together. From that last hand I just showed you, we saw that this kid is likely at least hesitant to want to go for thin value. So I think it's unlikely that he's going to risk his tournament life with a hand like ace king for this size. We can easily have a flush, ace jack, pocket 8s ourselves. Therefore I'm at least least discounting those types of hands. A hand like Ace Jack, well, we have a Jack in our hand. In combination with the fact that our opponent didn't open jam, hands are less likely. King, Queen of Hearts, Queen, Ten of Hearts, makes some sense. Could definitely have those hands, but that's only a couple of combinations. If we start to give him hands like King, Queen with a heart, Queen, 10 of spades, 10, 9 suited, these types of hands, all of these potential bluffs start to add up rather quickly. And again, the value range is rather narrow. You should start to put the pieces together of how to bluff catch efficiently. Value range in relation to potential bluffs, how likely are these potential bluffs to pull the trigger? This ace is clearly very threatening to my range that is filled with a hand like this. Any sort of a half poker player will recognize that and likely put on pressure with all of those hands that we mentioned. And if you're not doing this with thin value, you can start to over bluff very quickly. We toss in the call. Our man has the King 10 offsuit with the 10 of hearts. We scoop another decent sized pot, giving us a very healthy 8.5 million chip stack.
One more break. Got about 9 million scenes in there. Absolute scenes. It's like 28 left. People are hanging on for dear life. It's a fucking sick vibe and experience running this deep in a tournament. A lot of fun either way. Obviously, I'm well invested, but I'm trying to just stay grounded and make the decisions that are in front of me. See what happens. I think we'll be up there with top 3 stack at the minute, but again, just not really thinking about that. Just decision by decision. Tired as fuck. Hopefully we can find a healthy stack in the bag in an hour's time. I'll keep you posted there.
You're a beast, Spencer. You're a fucking beast. He's just bagging 11 million. That's nearly 2.5x average stack.
See what we can do with it. What a fucking day. 11 hours in the books. I'm obviously fucking stoked. We've bagged the chip lead. The field remaining is pretty damn soft. I reckon there's maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 professional players. The rest random recreationals. It truly is an incredible spot. What can I do? Rock up, play the hands. As I've been saying, we'll see what happens. Let's get it. Morning routine is ticked off. We've been for a run, done some meditation, chilling out here in the courtyard, having some brekkie. No eggs today because the nerves are kicking the fuck in. Plenty of butterflies, so just the yoga today. I think play starts at 12:30. Pretty keen to go in there and get this done. Let's do it. Let's do this. Let's go. One more day. Focused, in the zone. Let's do it.
And we are into the action. The very first hand. We're playing 75,000, 125,000 with a 125,000 ante. We're the chip leader. Our plan is to apply controlled, hard aggression to these middling stacks. Let's put them to the test. Are they willing to put their chips in the middle? The very first hand. Folds around to the cutoff. A middle-aged recreational player opens it up to 2 big blinds. Folds to us in the small blind and we have a look at ace queen offsuit. Absolutely more than reasonable. Fitting in with our overall plan, we bump it up to 850k. Back over to him, and he doesn't muck around before just sticking all the chips in. What is around 40 big blinds. Now, if I got the impression that he was up to no good or even looking to be aggressive, this would be close. I just don't see a recreational player at this stage of the tournament finding shoves with ace-5 suited or even pocket 9s. So I reluctantly let this one go. First small indication that my perception of how these guys are going to play may have been a little bit off. Only a couple of hands later, we pick up the ace-7 offsuit in the cutoff. Clear open. 2 big blinds. Small blind, a trying recreational player. Not a bad poker player. Shoves all the chips in. Something like 18 big blinds, ace-7 offsuit, just a little too weak. Ace-10 plus, I would be considering it here. We throw it in, and the small blind throws over a deuce and laughs. This actually kind of tilted me. What's going on here? These people have sat down and have this idea in their mind that I'm like going after every pot. We're gonna fight back against the chip leader. Well, yes. I'm allowed to go after every pot. I have all the chips. You're supposed to sit back there and be careful. and let the other stacks around you bust. The next indication that my perception was probably off. Now this one is crazy. Some of you may have seen this on a short post. We'd picked up a couple small pots, our chips back to where we started. This would have been about half an hour into the day. In the cutoff again, we opened sixes, folds to the big blind, who again I got the impression was on high alert, thinking I was trying to steal every pot. Sure, I am playing more aggressive than the next man, but I'm not just opening 7 deuce off. He non-all-in 3 bets. Interesting. I think this is a very polarizing action, or should be a very polarizing action. He either has a hand that he's inducing me with, something very strong, like pocket queens, ace king suited, or some sort of random bluff. Hands like pocket tens and ace queen, likely to just shovel the chips in, ensuring they don't get jammed on themselves. My thinking was, if he's getting out of line with a hand like king 10 offsuit, ace 5 offsuit, random suited connectors, he's going to have a lot more potential bluffs, hands that he'll have to fold to my shove, than those very few strong 3-bet clicks. I put in the money, applying maximum pressure, and he essentially beats me in the pot. I'm thinking, here we go, shit, I've just run into it here, before rolling over king 10 of clubs. Before the flop come down, I couldn't believe it. I literally had my hand in my hair. I looked at him and said, what are you doing? Like, are you for real? You have an above average chip stack. There are random fish surrounding you with shorter stacks, and you've just put your tournament life on the line with a hand like king 10 of clubs. Couldn't believe it. Sure enough, the window card is the king of spades, and we're drawing to 2 outs that obviously don't come. We just lose a good chunk of our chips. And in hindsight, this hand put me on tilt, something I didn't think I had in me anymore, but the wheels started to come off. We're down to 2 tables. There's a full redraw, meaning we randomly pick seats again. I'm down to about 6 million, which is still an above average stack. However, now I'm put in a different situation where I'm one of these decent sized stacks that needs to tread a little carefully. I don't have the free fire like I did when I was the chip leader. I need to be cautious that I don't slip down to a danger zone stack. Folds all the way to me in the small blind. We have a look at 8-6 offsuit. The big blind is an older recreational player, pretty straightforward. He's got double my chips after winning a bunch of all-ins in the previous few hands. We limp in, standard stuff, he checks back. Ball comes down queen 7-5 monotone. Pretty sick flop for our hand. We come in for a min bet and he quickly raises. Now I think I made a big mistake with this next play. I come in for a re-raise. My thinking was that this click-up range is incredibly dense in a hand like Queen X, something that we should be able to pressure across streets, going after it with our decent draw. And this is a play that I would stand by in a cash game scenario. I'm confident in that range assessment. We are going to be able to get a lot of folds to push this potential bluff. What this misses is what we just said about our stack size. We're not really in a position where we want to take big risks versus bigger stacks. Let's just click call, realize our equity, and still have an above average stack to pick off better spots in this weak field. He calls, turn bricks off. I decide to put in one more decent sized bet, hoping that he now believes me with some sort of random weak queen. No such luck, he continues. The river completely bricks off. I think if I had real cojones about, I could consider shoving this in. I did not find that. I give up and he quickly checks back and wins with the queen 4 offsuit. Just a couple hands later, we pick up the ace 9 offsuit in the cutoff. Folds to us. Even though we've lost a bunch of chips, I still think it's a clear open. 300k to go. Old mate to our left comes in for a call and we go 3 ways with the big blind. 10, 9 deuce 2-tone. Checks to us and we decide to check to the button. Quickly puts it in the 300k bet. Big blind folds. Easy continue. Turn bricks off, check, and he continues for 600k, double his previous bet. Again, I think this is an easy continue. He could be doing this with worse 9x, maybe even pocket 7s, and obviously a bunch of random draws. We continue. River is a dicey queen of spades. We check, and he quickly puts in a million chips. Certainly not a pretty spot. Those mergers that we mentioned, the worst 9x and pocket 7s, certainly don't exist anymore. He's telling us he has a better hand or some random bluff. The timing was just very interesting to me. If he had a hand like ace 10 or even queen jack, I think he would consider it. It's not just yes, let's bet. Therefore, I think it's quite polarized at 2 pair plus, hands that are obviously quite hard to have, or random bricked hands. The fact that he was completely unfiltered, we checked to him on the flop, means he can get there with 6-7 of clubs, ace 5 of spades, maybe even ace jack offsuit. Lots of potential bluffs. So we're getting this price. I can't see myself folding versus this player type. The one cross against it, something that I was a little worried about how well this queen fits into the natural barrels. If this was a complete brick, a deuce or a 3, something that allows all of those potential bluffs to still be air, it would be slam dunk. I do toss it in, and he shows us king queen. We're down to 2 million chips, less than 15 big blinds when we started with 90 a little over an hour ago. I'm sitting there red-faced, embarrassed, tilted, in disbelief. We're probably going to bust in 15th for 15 grand, which sure isn't a bad result, but when we had our sights on the 440 up top, it's certainly a new reality that I wasn't happy with. The blinds go round a couple times, we dwindle away. I think we may have open folded, chipping down all the way to about 1.2 million, which is exactly 8 big blinds. I think there are around 14, 15 left at this stage. Folds around to the cutoff, who shoves all of his chips in, 1.4 million, just slightly covering us. We look down at ace jack offsuit in the big blind. This would be slam dunk versus a theoretical 9 big blind open shoving range. I think it is a little closer because I was certain this guy would be tighter. However, we do put the chips in. Bad news when he rolls over ace queen of diamonds. It looks like we're done. We stand up pretty upset, ready to hit the showers. 10, 10, 9, no help so far. Deuce of clubs, we're dead to a jack or a 9. Dealer puts out the jack of clubs and we are back in it. Back to 2 million, still well below average with around 15 big blinds, but alive nonetheless. Just a few hands later, we get dealt ace king in the hijack. What a dream spot. Instead of just open shoving our roughly 15 blinds, I put in a min raise, hoping to induce some action, taking advantage of this rare opportunity to pick up such a big hand. And does it pay off? Button, who is a good player, lapse in judgment for sure. 3-bet jams, and we snap him off, and he's got ace 5 offsuit. The dealer puts down king 7-7, and he's just stone dead on the turn. A gift that will certainly take back up close to 5 million, nearing an average chip stack from 6 big blinds just a few hands ago. My attitude completely changed after this, which is another interesting learning point. My emotions and state of mind were so dependent on my chip stack, something that I hadn't experienced in a very long time. Players are dropping like flies. We're watching ICM mistakes left, right, and center. Hence the reason why we want to be more careful earlier on. Just being alive in a spot like this, allowing your opponents to punt off when they shouldn't, is a massive source of EV. I think there are around 11 or 12 left at this point. That same lad with the ace 5 off shoves his last couple of blinds in the middle. It folds around to us, and we have ace jack offsuit in the small blind. Easy go with. I just click this one up, 3 blinds. Not really sure what to do here. It feels like a hand that wants to take on the all-in heads up, but also not worth risking reshoving. Commanding chip leader, out of doubt the worst play in the field, which is kind of funny. Calls, and we go heads up to a locked pot, jack 6-3. Amazing situation. The same guy we lost to with the ace 9. I'm looking to just check here and see what he does. Give him a chance to put in the money with a worse jack, pocket pairs, random bluffs. He quickly checks back, which is telling. Very straightforward type player. He's essentially always going to have some sort of random give up. Ace high. Turn is the ace of diamonds, which is obviously a sick card. Same story. A very polarizing card. He essentially is either drawing dead or he's hit an ace. Let's give him a chance to put some money in. We check. Unfortunately, he snap checks back again. Basically means his player type doesn't have any sort of a hand. If he had ace 9 suited, king queen, diamonds, very likely to at least consider betting. When the river comes down, the 4 of spades could be an argument to check, but given that it's a locked pot, he's not going to bluff with random 2 cards. He doesn't have a hand good enough to call a big bet. I land on a min block, just hoping to get a random crying call from whatever weak hand he does have. Unfortunately, he does fold, and we obviously win the pot versus under the guns 8-9 offsuit, putting us up to 5.5 million, slightly above average. Crazy swing of events from the chip leader down to clearly the shorter stack, back up to above average on the final table, and let's see if we can spin it.
First break of the FT, got about 9 million, which is roughly average. One guy has all the chips. Here's my posse.
Nothing Nothing really special to report that happened on the FT. We were simply one of these middling stacks that had to play very tight. Essentially waited some players out. Luckily enough, 4 players busted relatively quickly. We laddered all the way from a $40,000 payout all the way up to 117. Now for our final mistake. 5 left. We have around 10.5 million. The shorter stack has 4.8 million, which is around 8 blinds. The other 3 players clearly have us dominated, all having around double, maybe even 3 times my chip stack. So the strategy here is to essentially wait out this guy. He has less than 10 blinds left. He's going to be forced to put his money in the middle over the next orbit or so, and we can ladder for another 40,000. However, that doesn't mean that we just shut off and don't play our hands. Folds to us, we look down at ace 10 off on the button. We do have to be much tighter here. Ace 8 off is the cutoff of hands we'd consider playing. I didn't realize that in game. I thought ace 10 would be very clear. And our options are min raise, open jam. I landed on open jam because I was paranoid that these 2 players might over aggress, taking advantage of the ICM situation I'm in, forcing me to open fold. To avoid that, I just stuck the rest of the chips in. This ignores the fact that we're clearly putting ourselves at risk if one of these players happens to wake up with a hand. We get max punished when the small blind wakes up with the ace king suited, obviously puts all his money in, and we are just stone dead on the turn. I felt pretty bad about this after the fact, thinking I completely torched it. When chatting with some of my good tawny pro mates, they told me that it was a mistake, but not a complete punt. You're usually going to get it through. We're going to win sometimes when we're called. In theory, ace jack offsuit considers open jam, therefore ace 10 offsuit must be at least close. It just hurts when we get max punished, out in 5th for 117k. Tournaments, huh? Running deep in a tournament is the most fun you can have playing poker. It truly was a great experience, and I learned a bunch of stuff from it. Firstly, your expectations need to align with reality. I went into this final day as the chip leader, expecting to win the tournament. I'm probably going to win this tournament maybe 10% of the time. That disalignment led to the tilt that I felt when that reality wasn't playing out. It's a really good idea for you guys. When you sit down at the poker table, you are going to lose a decent amount of the time. Once you accept that, it won't be such a reality shock, and you should be able to play better poker through that because you are somewhat expecting it. Secondly, I'm not exempt from my emotions. I thought I was, but a big spot came up and it didn't go my way, and I almost spat the dummy. That ain't good enough. I still have a lot of work to go on my mental game. And finally, I've got to give myself a break. I've literally studied less than 5 hours of tournament strategy in my whole life. I am going to make mistakes, and that's fine. If you put yourself in the spot, think through your options carefully, back yourself to do better than the opposition, because that's all that counts. I made a ton of mistakes across this tournament, but I saw plenty more. I'm going to go celebrate this win with my friends. Come check in for part 2 of my Aussie Millions journey. I'll see you there.